Look at the headlines this week. Screaming, panic. They say Rory McIlroy is skipping the Scottish Open in silent protest, that he is abandoning one of the most traditional events on the calendar to make a point. But here is the twist that completely changes the story. Rory McIlroy is actually in the field. He is in Scotland. He is the betting favorite to win the whole thing. So why the chaos? Why the narrative of a boycott? Because the skip everyone is talking about is not about this tournament. It is about something much bigger, much quieter, and far more damaging for the PGA Tour. This is a silent, calculated withdrawal. Rory is playing his own game, and right now, he is on track to play only 14 official events this year, one short of the required minimum. The Tour has a rule, a hard number, but instead of enforcing it, they quietly handed him a loophole, a get-out-of-jail-free card. While the average player fights for his card week after week, the biggest star gets a pass. That tension is not just brewing, it is exploding behind the scenes right now. The Scottish Open is supposed to be a crucial warm-up for the Open Championship, a place where legends sharpen their game. But this year, it has become the stage for a quiet power struggle. And this is just the beginning. Word is spreading fast through the locker rooms. Some of the most recognizable names in the sport are watching this unfold closely. They are waiting. If Rory successfully breaks the system, a group of superstars is prepared to follow his lead. They are ready to slash their schedules, skip the traditional stops, and treat the tour calendar like a suggestion rather than a rule. This is not just one man versus the commissioner. This is a potential avalanche that could reshape how professional golf looks next year. So here is my honest take. If the PGA Tour bends the rules for its biggest asset, do they have any right to enforce them on the rest of the field? Is Rory McIlroy justified in quietly pushing back against the modern grind? I want to know where you stand. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want the full breakdown of exactly who those 9 stars are and why this protest is far from over, hit that subscribe button. We are about to reveal the real truth behind the silence. Stick around. The truth behind the silence is far uglier than you think. You want to know who those 9 names are? The superstars ready to walk alongside McIlroy? Hold that thought, because before we unmask them, we have to answer a much uglier question. How did the PGA Tour let it get this far in the first place? Let us talk about the rule. The magic number 15. The PGA Tour mandates that every member must play at least 15 official events per season. It exists to protect sponsors, to guarantee stars show up for the fans who pay premium prices for tickets. It is the foundational contract between the player and the tour. Right now, Rory McIlroy is on track to play exactly 14. He has already skipped 3 signature events this year. He is skipping the FedEx Cup Fall entirely. His own agent confirmed it. No fall golf, no extra stops, just the bare minimum, and even that is falling short. So what happened? Did the commissioner fine him? Did he face a suspension? No. The tour quietly reached into the rulebook and pulled out a little-known clause, the discretionary exemption. It allows the commissioner to reduce the 15-event minimum for foreign members facing extenuating circumstances. They did not provide specific details. They just stamped it approved and moved on. Except the players did not move on. The veterans took notice. Billy Horschel spoke up publicly. Analysts across the golf media used one specific phrase: they are bending the rules. Now, let us make this sting. Rewind the clock to 1986. Seve Ballesteros, one of the most charismatic Europeans to ever touch a club, played just 9 official events. The tour did not grant him a waiver. They did not call it extenuating. They banned him for an entire season. The rule was rigid, unforgiving. It applied to everyone equally. Fast forward to today, and the biggest star gets a quiet phone call and a free pass. The grinder fighting to keep his card watches this and feels the system tilting under his feet. This is the crack in the armor. It is not just about Rory saving his energy for majors. It is about the message it sends to the entire locker room. If the rule only applies when the tour feels like enforcing it, why should anyone grind through a brutal schedule? Why risk injury and burnout for a tour that treats its own guidelines as suggestions for the elite? That question is burning in the minds of several top-tier players right now. They are watching Rory get away with it. They are calculating their own schedules. They are waiting for the green light to follow suit. And that brings us right back to the Scottish Open. Because the 9 names I mentioned earlier are not random rebels. They are the players who have been tracking this loophole for months. They know the tour is weak right now. They know the schedule is a pressure cooker, and they are standing by, ready to make their own quiet moves. The stage is set. The tension is real. We are about to name them. Keep listening. But before we unmask them, let us clear up the big misunderstanding. The headline says he is skipping the Scottish Open. He is not. He is standing right there on the practice range. The event he actually skipped was the Travelers Championship the week before. That was the quiet signal. That was the first domino. Look at the calendar. The Byron Nelson, then Colonial, then the Travelers, then the Scottish, then the Memorial, then the US Open. It is a death march. Brooks Koepka faced the same brutal math and withdrew from Colonial to save himself. Players are being forced to choose between chasing money and protecting their bodies. So Rory chose to protect his body. He rested instead of grinding. And honestly, that decision made perfect sense. Until you realize that he is not just resting, he is systematically removing events from his entire year. He played 9 so far. He will play only 14 total. That is the real protest. That is the silent walkout. But knowing why he is resting is surface level. The bombshell is who is taking notes. Let us get into the first group of names. 7 LIV golf players are teeing it up at the Scottish Open this week. Jon Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton, David Puig, Laurie Cantor, Tom McKibben, Adrian Meronk, Victor Perez. Yes, you heard that right. Jon Rahm is playing in a PGA Tour sanctioned event. Why? Because the Scottish Open is co-sanctioned with the DP World Tour. Rahm paid his fines to the DP World Tour, so he is eligible. Here is the twist. If Rahm wins, he does not get PGA Tour membership. He does not get FedEx Cup points. He just gets the trophy and the check. Yet he is there, taking up a spot, taking attention away from the PGA Tour's own product. This is not a boycott. This is an infiltration. And those 7 players are watching Rory's loophole very closely. They see the tour bending. They see the rules crumbling. They are living proof that the wall between the tours is paper thin. Rahm walked away from the PGA Tour for a massive contract, and now he is walking right back in through the side door. That is the irony that stings the most. The Scottish Open is supposed to be a showcase for the PGA Tour. Instead, it is becoming a reunion party for the defectors. That is just Group 1. Wait until you hear about the traditional stars following the same path. This second group is just as dangerous for the tour. Justin Rose skipped the Scottish Open for the first time in 5 years. No injury, no excuse, just a choice. Jordan Spieth is missing it too. He is heading straight to Birkdale early to practice. Collin Morikawa is out. Cameron Young is out. Tony Finau withdrew. These are not rebels. These are stars picking and choosing their battles, and they are following Rory's lead. They watched him get exempted from the 15-event rule. They saw the tour fold. So now, why should they show up to the traditional stops? Why risk exhaustion right before a major? They are making calculated decisions to prioritize the biggest stages. The Scottish Open is a great event, but it is sandwiched between the Memorial and the Open. It became the casualty. These 6 players, combined with the 7 LIV players, create a massive vacuum. That is 13 players who are either out of the field or competing under a different flag. That is not chaos. That is a coordinated disinterest. But here is the part that makes this a full-blown crisis. These absences are just the smoke. The fire is burning the rulebook itself. This brings us to the heart of the crisis. The real reason the tour is shaking right now. It comes down to 3 separate fires burning all at once. The first fire is the membership rule. The tour has a contract. Play 15 events or lose your card. Rory is at 14. Instead of punishing him, they gave him a secret pass. Do you realize what that looks like to the players who fight to keep their jobs? Zach Blair and Patrick Fishburne were the first alternates at Colonial because Koepka withdrew. They lost their tee time due to a scheduling domino effect. That is their paycheck. That is their points. And yet the biggest star gets a waiver. It tells every grinder on tour that the rules are optional for the elite. The second fire is the LAV integration. Rahm and his group are walking into a PGA event like they own the place. They cannot win membership, but they can steal the spotlight. They can win the trophy. They can prove that the PGA Tour cannot keep them out anymore. The wall is gone. The Scottish Open proved it. If the tour lets this slide, what stops Rahm from trying to enter the Memorial next year? What stops Hatton from playing the Players' Championship? The line is blurring, and the tour seems powerless to redraw it. The third fire is the identity crisis. Rory McIlroy was the tour's biggest defender. He stood against LIV. He fought for the PGA brand. He was the face of loyalty. Now he is the one bending the schedule. He is the one quietly walking away. If the defender becomes the defector, who is left to fight for the tour? That is the question that keeps commissioners up at night. When your most loyal soldier stops showing up for duty, the entire army wonders if the war is already lost. That is the real chaos. Not the withdrawals, not the headlines. The slow realization that the PGA Tour is losing control of its own calendar, its own rules, and its own biggest names. The Scottish Open is just the stage. The real drama is the system cracking under its own weight. Now let us talk about the next chapter. Royal Birkdale is just days away. The Scottish Open is the dress rehearsal. If Rory wins here, he sends a message. He does not need the tour's rules. He does not need the 15-event grind. He can walk into a major and dominate on his own terms. If he misses the cut, the critics will say his reduced schedule hurt his rhythm. Either way, the narrative shifts. The pressure on the PGA Tour is only going to intensify. Because if this protest works, if Rory proves he can skip events, stay fresh, and win majors, every single star in that locker room will follow his blueprint. They will slash their schedules. They will treat the traditional events like optional pit stops. And that is how a great tour slowly unravels. Not with a revolution, but with a silent, steady walkaway. That is what we are witnessing right now. Not a boycott, a slow-motion breakup. Think about what this means for the fans. The diehards who buy tickets to Colonial, to the Scottish Open, to the traditional stops. They are paying to see the best. And the best are quietly deciding that showing up is optional. That is the hidden cost of this protest. The fans lose. The sponsors lose. The tournaments that built the tour lose, and the tour itself is too busy managing the PR disaster to fix the underlying problem. So where does it go from here? The commissioner has a choice to make. Either he enforces the rules equally and risks losing his biggest star, or he keeps bending the rules and loses the trust of every other player. There is no third option, and the clock is ticking, because more players are watching, more agents are taking notes. If Rory gets away with this, the next guy will ask for the same treatment, and the guy after that. Pretty soon, the 15-event rule becomes the 15-event suggestion. The entire structure collapses. That is the warning shot. The Scottish Open is not the battlefield. It is just the staging ground. The real war for the soul of the tour starts next Thursday at Birkdale, and everyone in the locker room knows it. So I will leave you with this thought. Is Rory McIlroy right to protect his own legacy? Or should the rule apply to everyone, no matter the name? That is the debate golf fans are having everywhere right now. I want to hear your side. Drop your take in the comments and let us settle this like real fans. And if you want to stay ahead of every twist in this story, hit that subscribe button right now. This is the only channel that tells it straight. No fluff, no fake outrage, just the truth about the game we love. Thanks for listening. I will catch you in the next one.